The Pelicans front office just said something that should scare every player on the team. Oh, but they won 49 games, second most in franchise history. Last year, that's number 3 in the West. Well, this year, it almost missed the playoffs. And when they got there, the Thunder embarrassed them with a sweep. When Zion was drafted, New Orleans was the scary young team with a bright future. Now, they have been passed up. So with all that pressure, David Griffin said this.
In the past, we've always erred on the side of continuity, and our takeaway has always been, let's see this group healthy. I think we've seen it enough. There's teams that didn't make the playoffs that are going to get radically better this offseason, and I think you'll see a real sense of urgency from all of us to do that.
So he's like, we've always wanted to get healthy, and I think we've seen enough. It's not good. Big changes are coming, potentially, for Zion Williamson. Remember last offseason when Shams reported the Pels had intensive interest to move up in the draft for Scoot Henderson, but a jump from 14 to top 3 would have to include a star. So tons of speculation if Zion could get traded. It never happened, but the Pels said nothing. I mean, imagine if Ja Morant was in trade rumors. As toxic as he's been, the Grizzlies would come out hard. We are not trading our star. The Pels? Silent. But what happened this year? They almost beat LA in the play-in. Zion, 40 points. Got everything he wanted down the stretch before getting injured. The opposite of the last time they played. In-season tournament semifinal. 23-year-old Zion looked gassed, while 39-year-old LeBron was dropping 30. Zion had just 13 points in the biggest game of his life. Afterward, he said, that was definitely a big moment for me. I didn't look at anybody else, I looked at myself. I'll take full blame for that. I wasn't where I needed to be. It definitely changed a lot for me during the season. He then lost 25 pounds, and after the All-Star break, dropped 24 points, 6 boards, and 5 dimes a night. Big moments like 26.5 blocks against the Suns, or 26 and 7 steals against the Dubs. So it's great that he used that as motivation. But also, why did he have to lose 25 pounds in the middle of the season? After all the fat jokes, we're in like year 5. He said, oh, I'm different every single offseason. He still needed to lose 25 pounds in December? Zion will always be a flawed superstar, but he is by far the best they've got. The real problem is CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram. You would think BI and Zion complement each other, one guy in the paint, the other one hitting shots. But with Zion and Ingram on the floor, the Pels have a negative net rating. Negative. How is that possible? Oh, CJ will balance it out. Nope. Their big 3 has a 111.2 offensive rating. That is worse than the tanking Raptors. Why are they such a mess? Well, for starters, none of them are great defenders. Zion improved some, but the Warrior announcers couldn't help themselves.
Kuminga down the lane. Where is Zion defensively?
Yeah, he's just not ready to defend.
Offensively, Ingram and Zion play a my turn, your turn type of style, which isn't efficient in today's NBA. They both act like number ones, which might work for like a Kyrie and Luka because both guys can shoot threes. But Ingram isn't comfortable out there. He's more of a mid-range guy like Kevin Durant, and the ball doesn't move when it hits them. Ingram will get the ball, get set, 5 dribbles before shooting. Meanwhile, Zion ain't moving off the ball. But late this year, BI landed awkwardly, hyperextending his knee, and just wasn't the same. He came back for the final regular season game, but had to be benched in the play-in fourth quarter. Even when Zion went down against LA, BI did not come in. So against the Thunder, as the team number 1, Ingram averaged 14 points and 3 assists. The whole series was a nightmare against Lou Dort. Now, his knee injury could be to blame, or it's something else. BI now takes about 3 triples per game, hitting just 35%. But in 2020, it was almost double the attempts at 39%. He's only All-Star and he won Most Improved. What happened? Well, Ingram said, we had Lonzo Ball and Drew Holiday back then who were finding people on the wing and getting downhill. Guys who knew the game. Adding a traditional point guard in the offseason would be helpful. Okay, I don't know if that's a direct shot at CJ McCollum, but he has a point. They did play better with a pass-first guy. So the Pels could go after a traditional guard, but they have a decision to make on BI right now. Ingram is entering the last year of his contract, so to not risk losing him for nothing, they either have to extend him or trade him. Pretty obvious what they're gonna do. Now, it's a bad trade market for CJ McCollum. 32 years old, a huge $33 million contract. But who might want Brandon Ingram? Actually, the Pels don't just have BI to deal. They have one of the biggest pick hauls in the league. They have 9 tradable first-round picks and swaps. That's number 4 in the NBA, behind OKC, Utah, and San Antonio. Plus, the Pels picks are good. I mean, they have Milwaukee's pick in 26 and 27, which could be great. So David Griffin said he'll be aggressive. What does that mean? Before the deadline, Yahoo reported their number 1 trade target was Jarrett Allen. If that's still true, the Pels get Allen plus George Niang and Craig Porter Jr. for salary for BI. Allen, not a shooter, but he does everything else they need. He's a rim protector, gobbles up rebounds, and finishes in the paint. Jonas Valanciunas is a free agent, so New Orleans needs a new center. The Cavs learn a 2-center approach doesn't work, so they keep Evan Mobley coming into his own. I mean, did you see the game-saving block Game 5 against Orlando? As a Cav, BI draws attention, which makes Donovan Mitchell's life even easier, and his role wouldn't change that much in Cleveland. But Zion also needs a traditional point guard, someone who can attack the paint and create open looks, unlike CJ McCollum. So what about the Hawks getting BI and the Pels getting DeJounte Murray and Bruno Fernando plus Garrison Matthews for salary? The Hawks like Ingram, who is a win-now player, because the Spurs have their draft picks. I mean, why get the Lakers picks and Austin Reeves for DeJounte Murray? Ingram has a much higher ceiling, but Murray in New Orleans is a great fit as a guard who pressures the rim. 11 games with 20 points and 10 assists, all without Trae Young this season. And New Orleans was so bad in crunch time, they were 14 and 15 in clutch games. DeJounte thrives late in games, but there is a chance that New Orleans goes even bigger. Kevin O'Connor at The Ringer said, league sources expect the Pelicans to be aggressive in pursuing trades this summer with their mountain of picks, which means BI, maybe CJ, and picks for a superstar. I could easily see Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance Jr., 2 picks and a swap for Trae Young. This allows the Hawks to be good now and in the future. They recoup draft picks lost to San Antonio. Ingram is a much better fit with DeJounte in Atlanta and more cost-controlled. In New Orleans, Trae drastically improves their offense. Defense is limited, but this could just be one deal to make Zion better. One thing they're not going to do is get LeBron James. There is a list of teams that LeBron might be interested in for his next move. New Orleans is not one of them, but the rest are all spots to win his 5th championship.